The moment you find yourself wanting something more for them than they want for themselves, you're dead. I can't help them. I'm not a miracle worker. I don't have the secret sauce or the magic pill. And if I want to be a really good financial advisor, I want to know what money means to you in an authentic way. And so I'm intentional about going there and picking a path to get there. You need to be keeping up with the times, but at the same time, find one that's proven. Find one that's stood the test of time. Find one that many people who you aspire to become like have followed the system and it has worked for them.
Welcome to the Selling from the Heart podcast on the From the Heart Business Network. You've joined a global movement of sales professionals who are dedicated to being authentic and building trust. We call it Selling from the Heart. Together, we're on a mission to bring sincerity and substance to the sales profession we all love. Get ready to be inspired and equipped as we join our hosts, Larry Levine and Darrell Amy.
Sales leaders, hiring salespeople by resume and gut feel is expensive. The interview tells you how they talk. Sales Index Hire shows you how they sell.
With Sales Index Hire, you get data-backed sales candidate screening built from the same assessment science used with millions of salespeople. See who is recommended, who's worthy of consideration, and which candidates are not recommended before you invest hours interviewing.
So stop guessing and start building a stronger sales team.
Learn more at salesindex.ai. Hello and welcome back to the Selling from the Heart podcast. Your co-host, Darrell Amy, here today with Larry Levine. What's going on, Larry?
Hey, it's a great day here at Selling from the Heart. Great seeing you, Darrell. We're in for a treat. You know, every time that we podcast, we get some good ideas. And our community is just uplifted because we have great guests like the one you're getting ready to introduce, Darrell.
You're going to enjoy Bridging the Gap with our friend Jim Effner. As we get started, I'd love to give a shout out to this growing community of sales professionals all around the world from all kinds of amazing industries, all working, saying, yeah, I believe in selling from the heart. I believe in being genuine. I believe in being authentic, building trust. You're part of an amazing community. And who are we giving a shout out to this week, Larry?
Oh, I just have to give a special shout out to a good friend of mine who I've enjoyed developing a friendship with. That's Mr. Zach Glasby, fellow Southern Californian, dear client of ours here at Selling from the Heart. Zach Glasby, I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, we're cheering you on, Zach. Thank you. Well, hey, today's guest brings a message that every sales professional needs to hear. No matter your industry, your product, or your title, Jim Effner is a master sales trainer, and he's the founder of the P2P Group, where he has spent years working with financial advisors, teaching the principles to apply to anyone serious about elevating their performance. At the center of Jim's work is his book, Bridge Your Gap: Sales Strategies and Systems for Becoming a Top Financial Advisor. And despite the title, this isn't just a book for financial advisors. It's a blueprint for any salesperson who wants to close the gap between where they are today and the results they know they're capable of achieving. Jim breaks down how success isn't about working harder. It's about aligning your mindset, building repeatable systems, and executing with consistency. These are the same principles that drive trust, confidence, and long-term growth across every sales profession. And Jim is here with us today. Jim, welcome to Selling from the Heart. It's great to have you here.
It's great to be here. I'm honored to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. Look forward to it, Jim.
We're going to have a great conversation today. And as we kick it off, you know the question we ask every guest on Selling from the Heart. What does Selling from the Heart mean to you, Jim?
Well, first of all, bad on me. I didn't know until about 5 minutes ago. That's the bad news. The good news is you could have never told me and asked me that question without me knowing, and I could have answered it instantly, right? It's every genetic cell in my body. So I would say that selling from the heart to me, you used the word just briefly ago, authenticity. That certainly has a big thing to do with selling from your heart. But selling from your heart is more than just authenticity, being authentic, being honest. It's selling something that you believe in, selling something that you have passion in, selling something that you are convicted in to the level in which you can endure any type of hurdles, barricades, objections that get in your way. You can recover quickly because you're connected to the reason why you do it. And in my opinion, what selling from the heart means when it's done successfully is when people feel your passion, your energy, and your purpose that can't be caught, but it's evident. And that's authentic selling from the heart, in my opinion.
Oh, I really like this, Jim, and thank you for sharing because I've often said this, and I'd be curious your thoughts. We're in the feelings business. You're selling feelings as that transfer of feelings, and that surely comes across when you bring deep passion and purpose and a drive that says, you know what, this is who I am because I know who I am. Thoughts on that, Jim?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that was a question. I think that was a statement. And I would tell you, I couldn't agree with that more. I mean, I think you're dead on.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're so excited for you to be here today to talk about bridging the gap, sales strategies and systems for becoming a top financial advisor. And I know these principles are great strategies for all of our listeners, no matter what sales profession you're in. It seems like the word system. I've heard that. I mean, we all have heard the term system, save yourself time, energy, and money. And yet it seems like in the sales profession, we struggle to implement systems and we end up bouncing around and just kind of shooting from the hip a lot. Why do you believe systems are so important for sales success?
I think they provide consistency. I think they provide sustainability. Reps, for the most part, all sales professionals, in my experience, get a roller coaster results. And they get roller coaster results because they wing it and they work too much and behave too much based on how they think or are feeling at the moment. And because we're all human beings, we don't have our A+ game 24/7, 365. And so if you behave and communicate based on how you feel and think, you get, like I said earlier, roller coaster results. Systems allow a sales professional to get out of their own way, and they provide a very predictable, if it's a proven system that has stood the test of time, it provides a very predictable track to run on to be able to get a desirable result.
Hey, I'd be curious, Jim, on this whole systems, where does somebody start? So maybe somebody's a little bit off course. They don't have a system. It's broken. Haven't thought about it. They're using the W word, which she says wing it. What's a good couple steps that people can start course correcting themselves on when it comes to developing systems?
Well, first of all, I've always used the saying, it's easier to duplicate than it is to innovate. So, for example, in our company, we have a proven system that has stood the test of time. And so, therefore, people that come to our workshops, they don't have to go out and reinvent the wheel. We have the system. It's been tested, tried and true for 4 decades, right? And so the reality of it is, first and foremost, you have to start with a system. But then second of all, where you got to start is having the understanding, the desire, the connection, the correlation that you're professionally perturbed and you no longer want to be on the roller coaster of results. And you're finally saying, I give up, I'm throwing in the towel. I want to be more of a professional and I'm going to commit to a system and I'm going to put the time and the energy and the work into becoming a pro at it.
I love that. Professionally perturbed. I think every listener, can identify seasons and maybe if you're listening in, you go, yeah, I'm right there right now. I'm so frustrated with the up and down of this thing. And we can all point fingers and say, well, it's this, it's that, it's that. But, the reality is there's always 3 fingers pointing back at us. It comes back to us. And this concept of consistency, we call it disciplined habits and at Selling from the Heart. And I believe that what you're saying is so spot on that the first thing is you as a sales professional, not your manager, not your company, but you to be able to say, you know what? I need a system. I need to commit to this. That commitment is so powerful. Once someone commits, what else, where should they go? What else should be on their mind once they go, okay, Jim, you got me. You're right. Absolutely. I need to commit to be disciplined and to follow a system. Where should they go next?
Well, first of all, is the understanding as you start that there's a big difference between easy and simple. I think if you have a proven system, that it's relatively simple. That does not mean that it's easy. And the reason most reps don't adhere to a system, in my experience, is because they're not willing to put in the work, the time, the effort, you could call the practice, if you may, in order to make themselves a professional at that system. Salespeople don't do that. I don't, do I have my own opinions? Yeah, but I don't have evidence to back it up. But to me, athletes practice all the time. Surgeons practice all the time. Musicians practice all the time. If you're going to be a great salesman or woman, you got to spend some time working on your art. You got to get out of the business and work on the business, and you got to be willing to dedicate yourself to what is it going to take for me to be an expert. And most people aren't willing to do that. Most people are not willing to put in that time and effort. They also, a lot of people I find, don't have the ability to see the benefits and the dividends or the gold at the end of the rainbow when they do it. A lot of salespeople are programmed that, I make money when I'm doing revenue generating activities. So they're like that gerbil or that hamster in the wheel. It's like, go, 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 go. I don't have time to think. I don't have time to practice. I don't have time to, process all that stuff. I just I get paid when I make phone calls. I get paid when I see people. And I'm just going to do that all day long. And I'm just going to bang my head against the wall hard. And, in order to really become a master, you got to get out of your business and work on it. And part of that is mastery time, practice time, whatever you want to call it. And, that takes effort. That takes time. And so, and belief that when you do it, it will pay rewards.
Oh, yeah. Go back and rewind this for those that are watching or listening to this. Just go back and that, because I'm a sports geek at heart, Jim, and we all know this. Whatever professional sports team you follow or multiple teams you follow, they're held to certain counts of accountability and discipline when it comes to practice. They got to do it every single day. They find the time. We always said everyone has the same amount of time. They find the time to practice every single day, but yet salespeople and their managers will find excuses on why they shouldn't be practicing and training because they're too busy. They're out there making it happen, doing stuff. I just think it's this whole accountability and culture of, hey, we're going to commit to practice and we're going to carve this out every single day.
Yeah. No question. I agree. And if you want me to expand on that,
heck yeah.
I would say that, when I originally built my workshops in this particular line, is that, I sat back as a sales professional, and for whatever reason, I'm old, I'm 58, I got out of college, whatever that is, 40 years ago almost, 37 years ago. And I was a corporate finance major in college. I graduated in 4 years. I didn't get an 4.0 average, but I graduated in 4 years, right? And I thought to myself, what would I have learned if I got my diploma for just showing up for 4 years and listening to the professors, pontificate and preach? But I was never asked to do a pop quiz, a midterm exam, a final exam, a paper, and all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't have learned jack, And so that's kind of what the business professional world is like in sales world, is they get a information dumping in sales material and sales stuff that they could use to make themselves better, but they're never held accountable in the form of a test to be able to demonstrate that they put the time and the effort in and they perfected that skill set. And so for an example, in the financial world, if you're going to be successful, you got to work on favorable introductions and referrals. Are there professionals out there that do good in seminar selling and cold calling? I guess, but it's kind of, in my opinion, a miserable world. When you get people giving you favorable introductions to people that they care about, that's really how the lifeblood of this business goes. So you got to learn how to do that, right? And so when I first get people in my workshop, I say, I want to see how you prospect and ask for referrals. Go ahead and go. And 99% of the time, I want to throw up. I'm surprised you get any referrals asking that way, And it doesn't, I've always said this, one day I'm going to prove it, right? I think I could teach a fourth grader how to do that language part of it. This is not rocket science. Think about all the stuff in fourth grade we had to memorize for school. Started out in kindergarten with the Pledge of Allegiance. And if you went to a parochial school, all the things you had to memorize when you were young. Memorization's not that tough, but it does take time. And people just don't take the time and effort to do the very basic skill set. So what I would call the art of selling, what we would call the critical components, that you have to be on a scale of 0 to 10. If you want to be really good, you got to be a 10. And anybody could. if they just take the time and art to do it, but they're never tested and they're never held accountable. So one of the things in leadership that I think is missing in sales environments is saying, hey, these are the skill sets that we feel you must master. Oh, and by the way, at these points in time along the way, we're going to test to see how you're doing. And when you're doing really well, we're going to give you a big high five and you're going to be a big partner and a future part of our firm. And when you absolutely cannot demonstrate anything, we're going to show you the door pretty quick.
Yeah. I'm curious, where on your journey over the decades did you first realize that systems are going to be really, really crucial to your success in sales?
First of all, obviously not day one, you grow and you mature. So I don't remember, was it year 6? Was it year 7? Was it year 4? I don't remember precisely. And I'm sure it was a gradual process. It wasn't a cliff, but it was the realization that I'm not happy getting what I'm getting, which is the beginning of professionally perturbed. I'm not happy with the inconsistency of my revenue and my cash flow. There's got to be a better, more consistent way to do this. And I remember going to a meeting one time that was probably the genesis of the process was, if you do these 5 or 6 things every single day, it's impossible to fail. You get 2 referrals every day. You make 5 appointments on the phone every day. You see 3 people every day. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. I can't see a year from now. I can't see 5 years from now, but can I do those 4 or 5 things every day? Yeah, I can. And then that led to, okay, that consistency is giving me better results. And then just how do I build that consistency is having a system that supports it around it. And so it was a gradual process.
I gotta zero back in on this professionally perturbed. Because I haven't heard it before. So if it's okay with you, I might steal it. I'll give you all the credit in the world for it, Mr. Effner. But how does one know when they're becoming professionally perturbed? What are like some of the, I'm going down this road. Now all of a sudden I'm going to think of the double P's. How does somebody like figure out they're going down that road and how do they pull themselves out of it?
Yeah. Well, first of all, let's take a step back as well. And I'll tell you that one of the questions, everybody is sponsored that comes in my workshops, but we don't let anybody come into our workshops if they don't have 50% of the tuition skin in the game, because then they won't do the work. They won't, but their 50% is sponsored by either the corporation, their partner, whoever, right? And so they're thinking about who are good people to send. And one of the most common questions I get when I'm in a new relationship is, Jim, what's the ideal profile of who I should be sending? And I start out with that. It's first and foremost, they got to be pissed off where they are and they got to be frustrated. I call that professionally perturbed, and they got to want more. And it's too often where a leader is that way because the leader sees a lot of potential and the leader's frustrated that they're not doing better. But I'm like, listen, the moment you find yourself wanting something more for them than they want for themselves, you're dead. I can't help them. I'm not a miracle worker. I don't have the secret sauce or the magic pill. So the very first ingredient is they got to be professionally perturbed. They got to be done with their existing life and want a new one in order to put the time, the effort, and to have the courage, right, to be able to do what it's going to take for them to get great. And by the way, I'm only an expert in this business, and I don't know much, but this business I know really well. But I got to believe that in weight loss, it's that way, right? In a lot of things. I mean, until somebody, you have somebody 100 pounds overweight and they know it intellectually, but until they wake up one day and say, I'm done, this sucks, I hate my life, I'm losing this weight, they're not going to stick to a nutritional program and an exercise program until they're pissed off with where they are. It just is what it is, because it's not easy and it takes dedication, it takes discipline, and they got to connect. Why the heck am I doing this? That's because I don't want to be where I am right now, and that's important.
Yeah, and I think that's such a good heads up for managers, what you said earlier about you can't want it more than that person on the team. And this is so crucial on that. I am curious, I've obviously spent your career in the financial services industry, which is a wonderful, wonderful sales industry. I'm curious what lesson, we have a broad audience here of sales professionals across all industries. And I'm curious, what have you learned and observed in the financial services industry that you think is applicable to sales? Some lessons from financial services that you go, you know what? I wish everybody could see sales through the lens of a financial services sales professional.
I think I understand your question. I would say one thing that's definitely applicable is when you can walk away from a sales engagement, no matter what you're selling in any profession, any industry, and the individual you're selling to has these three feelings, you've won 99% of the battle. The rest of it's all downhill. The first one is that they feel they can implicitly trust you. The second thing is that you genuinely care. Your terms, I'm selling from the heart. And the third thing is that I'm knowledgeable at what I do. And my goal is, with a lot of intentionality, to get people to manage, learn, and master the art of how do I do that authentically? Because one of my least favorite terms is fake it till you make it. You can't fake anything.
Yeah.
I hate that term, right? And so when you can authentically communicate from your heart in a way that quickly gets people to know that they can implicitly trust you, that you genuinely care about them, and that you're knowledgeable at what you do, the rest of it's all downhill. I think that's applicable in all sense.
Beautiful.
I totally agree. Use the word intentionality. You've used it a couple times. What's intentionality mean to you, Jim? In the day in the life of a salesperson, sales manager.
The opposite or the antithesis of winging it. If I ask you a question, I have reason I'm asking you a question. There's method to my madness. I've practiced my art. It's not a scripted question. It's not a token question, nor is it a manipulative question. But it's a question here's an example of that. Intentionality is, Larry, I want to know, I'm in the financial planning business, so it's imperative that I understand what money means to you. If I just ask you, Larry, what does money mean to you? I'm going to get very token, superficial answers that mean nothing. Security, peace of mind, less anxiety. I mean, I won't use profanity, but no, and the word starts with an S, right? So the reality of it is you've told me nothing. But if I want to bring intentionality to understanding what money means to you, Larry, I might say this, Larry, because I'm in the financial planning business, it's imperative that I understand what money means to you. So my first question to you, Larry, is I want you to go back to your earliest childhood memory, and I want you to tell me what it is you learned about money from observing your mom and your dad. Then I want to sit back and listen, and I want to ask clarifying questions, and I want to ask questions to the questions, because about the fourth answer you give me, it's like peeling away layers of the onion, will be where the golden nuggets lie. But I also have a belief system that all of us learn a ton about money when we're about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, not by being sat down at the kitchen table and preached to or taught, just by watching. And those habits carry over into our adult life. And if I want to be a really good financial advisor, I want to know what money means to you in an authentic way. And so I'm intentional about going there and picking a path to get there. I'm not just winging it. I just didn't think of that right now.
Yeah, that's so powerful. I love it. I love it. Yeah, this now I'm thinking, like, what's the money question for the business that we're in, and all of that. So it's a good question to ask. Is what are some of the basic assumptions that we need to understand about our clients related to the business that we're in? That one I'm going to chew on for quite a while. I'm curious, and this has been a fantastic conversation, Jim. As we wrap up, if you could encourage, motivate, fire up, perturb, dare I say, our listeners to and inspire them to jump in and get serious about a system, what would you say?
Do your research, choose wisely, be methodical to the point that you can go all in to find which one you're going to follow. I find one of many cardinal sins salespeople do in all industries is they chase the latest, greatest, newest fad. And so they might get, buy into one system, and then, 2 years later, they, see some infomercial or something on social media or some meeting they go to, and then they jump ship to that one, and then they jump ship to another one, and they jump ship to another one. And I'm not saying that you need to stay old fashioned forever. You need to be keeping up with the times, but at the same time, find one that's proven, find one that stood the test of time, find one that many people who you aspire to become like have followed the system and it has worked for them. And then go all in and stick to it. And don't try to change by the flavor of the month or the flavor of the year and whatever is popular. That's a shortcut.
Oh, I'm going to bring back professional athletes for a second, only Jim, because you just triggered something. I just love watching pregame shows with professional athletes and things like that, and their pregame rituals and their rhythms and all that just didn't start overnight. It goes back, a lot of this pregame stuff, the stuff that you're referring to, goes all the way back to their youth and how they started things and how they were coached. Yeah, things have changed and morphed over time, but they've perfected some of this stuff with the rhythms and the rituals, the things they do that just, they don't even think about it, which I think speaks a lot to what you were saying is they've just zeroed in on this, though things have changed with times. They just layer on top of the things that are already working.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, I'm curious, you guys have asked me a lot of questions. One of the things I get feedback from my social network, my best friends, is they're like, Jimmy, why do you stick just within the industry of financial services? You're one of the greatest salesmen I've ever met. You've taken a methodical, intentional approach to teaching it. You've got a lot of great ideas, and most of them are applicable across all industries. And I've never done it. And my answer has been twofold. Number one, the financial services industry is so massive that I've tapped into about 2% of it, right? There's so much more to go. I don't have to expand. And number two, I can't do anything that's not authentic. And I think one of the many things that really make working with Jim Effner and P2P attractive is it takes people about 30 seconds to feel my passion and my desire and how all in I am. I don't have that in selling steel or selling software or selling real estate. I don't have it. And I can't fake anything that I don't have. And so, I don't know, you guys agree with that or?
I think it's powerful, and I absolutely respect your focus on what is a really, really critical and beautiful industry. So, Jim, thank you so much for sharing time today. I know our listeners are thinking the same thing I'm thinking. That is, how do you get more Jim Effner in your life?
Well, we have two websites. The book, which you said earlier, Bridge Your Gap, you can find on our free website, which is just jimeffner.com. But you can also find it on Amazon. And then we also have a subscription website that's got over 300 how-to videos that I have filmed in professional, studios over the years. And that's P2P-academy.com. So those are the ways that they can get more of Jim Effner and P2P. Thanks for asking.
Super. You'll find those links in the show notes. Jim, thank you so much for sharing your heart and your ideas with us today. This has been fantastic.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
That's our pleasure.
Good conversation. What a crucial conversation. I love that concept of being professionally perturbed. And I think, this for our friends in sales, and I think any of us at some point in our career have been in a place where we think we can just wing it. And guess what? You can't. You need a system. You need a system. You need to apply it. You need disciplined habits. It makes me think of our previous conversation about the consistency chain, like all of these things. The more relational you are, the more important it is for you to have a system, because we're in this to be successful, to help our clients be successful, to help our company win. All of this is based on showing up consistently. And I love it. Are you professionally perturbed?
Oh, this was a great conversation. I'll just leave everyone with something to think about. And you'll see Darrell, if you're watching this on YouTube, you see Darrell wearing a sales index pullover, and one of our sponsors here at Selling from the Heart, Sales Index. And one of the things that's measured in Sales Index is what Jim's talking about. It's a systems, it's a process and all that. And the opportunistic part behind all of this, we could all improve it, because it's one of the things that most salespeople consistently score low on, is what we're talking about today. There's the opportunity. I appreciate it. Good conversation with Jim.
Yeah. This is a good rewinder. Take some notes, and most importantly, commit to a system and stick with it. Well, hey, thank you for joining us this week on Selling from the Heart. We've got great guests coming up. We always appreciate all of our friends who are sharing this podcast, leaving reviews. We're continuing to build this amazing community of sales professionals all across the sales profession, all around the world. And we're so glad you're a part of it. So until next time, keep being genuine, keeping authentic, keep building trust, bridge your gap by being consistent, and most of all,
Sell from the heart.